My name is Geneva Madden, 28 years old. At my first family dinner after graduating medical school, I walked in 14 weeks pregnant. My father, chief of cardiothoracic surgery at the hospital his father built, stood up in front of 12 people and said, "You are not a Madden, get out." My mother leaned in close enough for everyone to hear. "Sleep outside. We raised a daughter, not a disgrace." I didn't beg. I left with one suitcase and my medical degree. 2 weeks later, a lawyer knocked on my door with a bill for $280,000. They didn't know I'd been keeping records since I was 16, and what they found out next would cost them everything they'd spent 3 generations building. I need you to understand what the Madden name meant in Boston. My grandfather founded Madden Ellsworth Medical Center in 1952. 6 floors, 450 beds, a cardiac wing that bore his name in bronze letters you could see from the street. By the time I was 8, I could recite the family story like a catechism. Maddens don't just practice medicine, Maddens build it. My father, Vincent Madden, became chief of cardiothoracic surgery when I was 16, 12 years in that role. Hospital board member, published in every major journal. The kind of surgeon other surgeons called when they needed someone saved. My mother, Diane, came from the Ellsworth side, the other half of the hospital's name. Old Boston money, medical philanthropy. She ran the foundation that controlled $180 million in endowment funds. Every year, the foundation gala raised another $8 million. Every year, my mother stood on stage in a gown that cost more than most people's cars and talked about legacy. I was supposed to be part of that legacy. Medical school was never a question, it was an inevitability. Like inheriting eye color. They paid for everything, all 4 years. $280,000 in tuition alone. I didn't think about it then. I was their daughter. That's what parents did. Except they didn't call it a gift. They called it an investment. I graduated in May 2024. Top 15% of my class. Not first. That went to someone who'd memorized every pharmacological pathway known to man, but high enough that my father could mention it at dinner parties without embarrassment. I matched into pediatric residency at Children's Hospital Boston. That was my first betrayal. My father wanted cardiothoracic surgery, follow his path, take over his practice eventually, build the next generation of the Madden cardiac dynasty. I told him over dinner, just the 3 of us. March, during match week. Pediatrics, I said. He set down his fork. The sound echoed. 10 seconds of silence. Then, Children's Hospital is acceptable. It's still Boston, still prestigious. Don't make me regret this flexibility. Flexibility. That's what he called it when I didn't do exactly what he wanted. My mother said nothing. Just refilled her wine. I should have known then. When you grow up in a family where love is a performance review, you learn to read the silences. But I had a bigger secret, one I hadn't told them yet. I met Ethan Cole in October 2023. I was doing my emergency medicine rotation. 3rd year of med school. 70-hour weeks. Living on vending machine coffee and spite. He was an ER attending. 35. Confident in the way you get when you've intubated someone in the back of a speeding ambulance at 3 in the morning. We worked a code together. Cardiac arrest, 52-year-old man, we got him back. Afterward, Ethan bought me terrible hospital cafeteria coffee and told me I had good instincts. That was it. That was the moment. 3 months later, we were dating. Secretly. Because Ethan Cole was exactly the kind of man my parents had spent 28 years teaching me to avoid. He grew up in Pittsburgh. His father worked in a steel mill until it closed. His mother cleaned houses. Ethan paid for college with an Army ROTC scholarship, did 4 years as a combat medic, then used the GI Bill for medical school. He'd been married before. Divorced 2 years when I met him. He had a 6-year-old son named Liam who visited every other weekend. He made $185,000 a year. For most people, that's generational wealth. For my family, it was disappointment with a salary. I knew they'd never accept him. The divorce alone would have been enough. The working-class background, the child from a previous marriage, those were disqualifiers in the world I came from, so I didn't tell them. For 8 months, I lived two lives. Geneva Madden, future pediatrician, daughter of the Boston medical elite, and Geneva, who spent weekends in a 650-square-foot apartment in South Boston, cooking pasta with a man who'd never heard of the charity galas my mother threw. I thought I could keep those lives separate. I was wrong. By February, I was pregnant. We'd been careful. We thought we'd been careful. But there I was, staring at two pink lines on a test I'd bought at a CVS 3 miles from my apartment so no one I knew would see me. Ethan was calm, steadier than I was. "We'll figure it out," he said. "Whatever you want to do, we'll figure it out." I wanted to keep it. That decision was easy. Telling my parents was the hard part. I planned it for June, after graduation, after match, after I had my MD and my residency position locked in, after I had proof I hadn't derailed the plan completely. There was a tradition in my family. A celebration dinner after every major milestone. Medical school graduation qualified. My mother organized it. Saturday, June 15th, 7 p.m. Their house in Beacon Hill. The dining room with the mahogany table that seated 14, inherited from my great-grandfather. She invited 12 people, extended family, my father's colleagues, 2 hospital board members and their wives. I thought, if I tell them in front of witnesses, they'll have to be civil. If I do it publicly, they can't control the narrative. If there are other people in the room, they'll have to just accept it. Ethan told me I was wrong. "Tell them privately first," he said. "Give them time to process." But I knew my parents. Private meant they'd have time to strategize, time to plan how to handle me, contain me, redirect me back onto the path they'd chosen. Public meant they'd have to react in real time. I thought that would protect me. I was so completely, devastatingly wrong. I arrived at 6:50 p.m. The house looked the way it always did. Brick facade, black door with a brass knocker, window boxes with flowers my mother paid someone to maintain. I'd lived there for 18 years, left for college, came back for holidays. It had never felt like home, just a building where I performed the role of daughter. I wore a navy blue maternity dress. Target, $38. The bump was visible, 14 weeks, no hiding it. Ethan had offered to come with me. I said no. "This is family only." He kissed me before I got out of the car. "Call me when it's over." I walked up the steps, knocked. My mother opened the door. She looked at my stomach. 3 full seconds. I counted. Then she said, "Everyone is waiting," and turned away. No hug, no greeting, just that. I should have left then. I didn't. 12 people around the mahogany table. My grandfather, Vincent Sr., 82, retired surgeon, the man who'd built the hospital my father now ran. My Aunt Patricia and Uncle Gerald. My father's sister and her husband. 2 hospital board members, Dr. Raymond Hartley and his wife Susan. Dr. Hartley had published 34 papers with my father. They vacationed together every summer. Family friends. People whose names I'd known my entire life but had never really known. I sat in the middle of the table, across from my father. My grandfather raised his glass. "To Geneva, the newest Madden to join the ranks. Your grandmother would be proud." Everyone drank. Dr. Hartley asked about my research project. I gave the standard answer. Pediatric asthma interventions in underserved communities. People smiled, nodded, made appropriate sounds. Normal. Except my parents hadn't said a word. They just watched me. Then my father set down his fork. The sound echoed. "You've been quiet tonight, Geneva." His voice was calm, neutral, the tone he used during surgery, clinical. Everyone stopped talking. "Is there something you'd like to share with the family?" I looked at him, then at my mother. They knew. I don't know how. Maybe my mother had called my doctor. Maybe she'd seen a credit card statement from the OB clinic. Maybe she'd just looked at me and known. But they knew. And this wasn't a family dinner, it was a trial. I could have lied, I should have lied. Instead, I told the truth. I'm 14 weeks pregnant. Silence. Not the polite kind. The kind that presses against your eardrums. I kept going. The father is Dr. Ethan Cole. He's an emergency medicine attending. We're engaged. We weren't engaged. But I thought it would help. Thought it would make it sound planned, legitimate, acceptable. It didn't. My father stood up. His chair scraped against the hardwood floor. Loud. Harsh. Everyone looked at him. Ethan Cole. He said the name like he was diagnosing a disease. The ER attending, divorced, with a child. Pause. From Pittsburgh. Another pause. You are not a Madden. Get out. I stood up, not because I wanted to, because my legs did it automatically. Dad? Get out. That's when my mother spoke. It's when. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. You shamed us. You shamed this family. You shamed everything we built. Her voice was ice, clear enough for everyone at the table to hear. Sleep outside. Then she turned to the guests, smiled. The smile she used at foundation events when a donor said something inappropriate and she needed to redirect the conversation. Please excuse us. Family matter. I looked at my grandfather. He looked down at his plate. No one was going to help me. I checked my watch without thinking. 7:18 p.m. I'd been sitting at that table for 11 minutes. I left the dining room, walked upstairs to my old bedroom. The room looked exactly the way I'd left it after college. Cream walls. Bookshelf with my undergraduate biology textbooks. Desk where I'd studied for the MCAT. I pulled my old suitcase from the closet. Black Samsonite carry-on. I'd bought it for college in 2014. It still had the baggage tag from my med school interview trip. I packed clothes, toiletries, my laptop, the framed photo of me and Ethan I kept hidden in my desk drawer, my medical school diploma. 13 minutes. When I came back downstairs, the front door was locked from the inside. I knocked. My mother opened it. She was holding an envelope. Your health insurance card. You're off our plan as of tonight. I opened the envelope. The card had been cut in half. Clean scissor line through the middle. There was a note inside, handwritten. You made your choice. Live with it. Don't come back, my mother said. Don't call. Don't embarrass us further. She closed the door. I heard the deadbolt slide into place. I stood there for a moment. Then I walked to my car, got in, drove away. 7:31 p.m. I didn't cry until I hit the highway. I got to Ethan's apartment at 8:05. South Boston. 3rd floor walk-up. 650 square feet. 1 bedroom. Rent $2,100 a month. Liam was already asleep. Ethan opened the door before I could knock. He didn't ask what happened. He just pulled me inside and said, "You're safe here." I sat on his couch. Navy blue, second-hand, bought from someone on Craigslist when he first moved to Boston. I opened the envelope my mother had given me. Health insurance card, cut in half. The note. Ethan read it over my shoulder. He didn't say anything for a long time. Then, "We'll figure this out. I promise." I fell asleep on his couch. When I woke up, my phone had 17 missed calls, none from my parents. Sunday morning. 9 a.m. Voicemails from my Aunt Patricia. Geneva, I don't know what happened, but your father called me at midnight. He said you're no longer part of the family. Is that true? Call me. My college roommate, Jenna. Jen, what the fuck happened last night? Your mom told everyone you left because you couldn't handle the pressure of residency. Call me, I'm worried. 2 calls from numbers I didn't recognize. I didn't call anyone back. Then I saw the email. Subject line, Notice of Account Closure. From Douglas Pritchard, Pritchard and Associates, Attorneys at Law. Sent, Sunday, June 16th, 2024, 11:43 a.m. I opened it. From Douglas Pritchard, Escrieur, dpritchard@pritchardlaw.com. 2. Geneva Madden, gmadden@gmail.com. Subject: Notice of account closure. Date: June 16, 2024, 11:43 a.m. Dear Miss Madden, per the instructions of your parents, Dr. Vincent Madden and Mrs. Diane Madden, I am writing to inform you of the following changes to your financial arrangements, effective immediately. 1. Trust fund account, balance, $450,000, has been frozen pending family review. 2. Joint checking account with Mrs. Diane Madden, balance, $3,200, has been closed. Funds have been transferred to Mrs. Madden's personal account. 3. All credit cards under the family account have been canceled. 4. Health insurance coverage has been terminated as of June 15, 2024, 11:59 p.m. This includes but is not limited to trust fund disbursements, health insurance coverage, credit card access, and any future financial assistance. Please make arrangements accordingly. Sincerely, Douglas Pritchard, Attorney at Law. I read it 3 times. Then I checked my wallet. $68 cash. My residency didn't start for 2 more weeks. First paycheck wouldn't come until mid-July. I was pregnant, uninsured, homeless, and I had $68. 10:22 a.m. My phone rang. I almost didn't answer. Then I saw the name, Dr. Lillian Shaw, Program Director, Pediatric Residency, Children's Hospital, Boston. My future boss. I answered. Geneva. Her voice was formal, cold. I received a call from your father yesterday evening. My stomach dropped. He expressed concerns about your personal circumstances and whether you'll be able to fulfill the demands of residency. I want to be clear. Your position is secure as long as you meet our requirements. But I need to know. Are you prepared to start July 1st? I thought about my father. Calling her. The same night he kicked me out, trying to take my residency away before I'd even started. Dr. Shaw had been colleagues with my father for 9 years. They'd published 34 papers together. They vacationed together. Their families spent Christmas together. She was asking if I was prepared. What she meant was, "Are you going to be a problem?" "Yes," I said. "I'll be ready." "Good. I'll see you at orientation." She hung up. I sat there holding my phone. My father had called her within hours of kicking me out. He wasn't just cutting me off. He was trying to destroy me. Ethan came home at 2 p.m. After a 12-hour shift in the ER. He found me at the kitchen table, laptop open, searching, Medicaid eligibility, Massachusetts pregnant. He sat down across from me. "You're staying here. Rent's covered. I've got this." I shook my head. "I can't let you. You're having a baby. We're doing this together. End of discussion." I wanted to argue, wanted to say I'd figure it out on my own. But I couldn't, because I didn't know how. Ethan made $185,000 a year. After taxes, after his child support payments to his ex-wife, $1,100 a month, he cleared about $9,000 a month. His rent was $2,100. He could afford to help me. The question was whether I could afford to accept. I looked at him. This man I'd known for 8 months, who was offering me a place to live, a future, a family. My parents wanted me to fail. I could see it now. The locked accounts, the canceled insurance, the call to Dr. Shaw. They wanted me desperate, broken, crawling back to apologize. "Okay," I said. "Thank you." He reached across the table, took my hand. "We'll figure out the money. You focus on staying healthy." I wanted to believe him, but I knew my parents. This was just the opening move. Monday morning, 3 texts from med school friends. "Did you really drop out of residency? Are you okay? I heard you had a breakdown. Your mom posted something on Facebook. What's going on?" I opened Facebook. My mother's post, published Sunday, 9:15 p.m. "Our daughter Geneva has decided to take a different path. We support her journey and wish her well. Sometimes the roads we choose surprise us, but we trust in God's plan. 127 likes, 34 comments. Praying for your family. She'll find her way. You're such a strong mother. They were rewriting history, making it look like I'd quit, like I'd chosen this, like they were the gracious parents supporting their troubled daughter, not the people who'd kicked me out. I closed the app. I couldn't fight the narrative. Not yet. I didn't have the ammunition, but I was starting to look for it. June 16th through June 30th. 14 days. I built a routine. Wake up at 7. Make coffee in Ethan's drip machine, the kind you buy at Target for $19.99. Eat cereal, generic brand, $2.49 for a box that lasted 3 days. I'd never looked at price tags before. Not really. Now I was calculating cost per meal. Medical scribing work started at 9. Remote. $22 an hour. I logged in from Ethan's couch, transcribed doctor's notes, coded diagnoses, 20 hours a week, $440, paid every 2 weeks. After that, residency prep, read protocols, review pediatric emergency algorithms, prepare. Ethan worked 3 12-hour shifts a week. When he was gone, the apartment felt huge and tiny at the same time. I grocery shopped at Market Basket instead of Whole Foods, took the T instead of Uber, bought prenatal vitamins at CVS, generic, $12.99 instead of $35. It was humbling and strangely freeing, because for the first time in my life, no one was watching. No one was grading my performance. I could just exist, but I couldn't shake the feeling. The silence from my parents wasn't peace, it was strategy. I applied for Medicaid on June 17th, approved June 20th. Emergency pregnancy coverage. First OB appointment, June 23rd, 2 p.m., South Boston Community Health Center. Not the concierge practice my mother used. Not the place where they offered you sparkling water and remembered your name. This was a clinic with fluorescent lights and plastic chairs, and a waiting room full of people who looked as tired as I felt. Dr. Nina Alvarez, 30-something. Warm eyes, no judgment. She did the ultrasound herself. 16 weeks now. The heartbeat filled the room. Steady, strong, 152 beats per minute. I cried. Dr. Alvarez handed me tissues. Everything looks great. Strong heartbeat. You're doing fine. Pause. Do you have support at home? I thought about Ethan, his cramped apartment, his willingness to share everything he had. Yes, I said. I didn't tell her I was terrified of what would happen when my parents made their next move. Because they would. I knew they would. Ethan's son came to visit June 21st. Friday evening through Sunday afternoon. Liam, 6 years old. Gap-toothed smile, obsessed with dinosaurs and Lego. This was the first time he'd seen me living there. We were unpacking groceries when he asked, "Are you going to live here now?" I froze. Ethan stepped in. "Geneva's staying with us for a while. She's my friend." Liam accepted this without question. 6-year-olds are like that. We built a Lego city on the living room floor. Liam narrated the entire thing. A T-Rex attacked the fire station. The firefighters called for backup. Chaos ensued. It was the most normal I'd felt in weeks. That night, after Liam went to bed, I sat on the couch with Ethan. "His mom knows I'm here, right?" "Yeah," I told her. "What did she say?" "She said as long as you're good to Liam, she's fine with it." I looked at him. "I'm bringing chaos into this kid's life." "You're not chaos," Ethan said. "You're family." I didn't know how to tell him I didn't know what that word meant anymore. 14 days. 0 direct contact from my parents, but 12 phone calls from extended family. Aunt Patricia, twice. My cousin Rebecca, once. Family friends, people I barely knew. All of them with the same message. If you just apologize and agree to reconsider your choices, I'm sure we can fix this. Reconsider your choices. That's what they called it. What they meant was, End the pregnancy. Leave Ethan. Come back to the plan. I didn't answer. I blocked 4 numbers, but I knew what was happening. My parents were using their network, applying pressure from every angle, waiting for me to break. I wasn't going to. June 28th. A package arrived. Children's Hospital Boston logo, orientation materials, schedule, badge pickup instructions, required paperwork. Drug test appointment, July 5th. Residency started July 1st. 80-hour work weeks, $68,000 a year. First paycheck, July 15th. I did the math, 68,000 gross. After taxes, 4,200 a month. Rent share with Ethan, 1050. Groceries, 400. Student loans, 850. They'd been deferred during med school. They resumed in July. Prenatal care copays, 200. Transportation, 150. Total, 2650. That left 1550 a month. Barely enough. And I still had no idea what my parents were planning, but I was about to find out. June 30th. Sunday evening, 6:15 p.m. Ethan and I were making dinner. Pasta, jarred sauce, $7.99 for a package that would last 3 meals. Someone knocked on the door. I thought it was a delivery. It wasn't. I opened the door. A man, maybe 60, gray suit, briefcase. Geneva Madden? Yes. I'm Douglas Pritchard. I represent your parents. The lawyer. The one who'd sent the account closure email. I need to deliver this to you personally. He handed me an envelope. Thick. Legal-sized. You'll want to read it carefully, he said. I advise you to consult an attorney before taking any action, or inaction. Then he left. I stood in the doorway holding the envelope. My hands were shaking. I didn't open it until I sat down. 3 documents inside. The first was labeled Promissory Note, dated September 15th, 2020. Right before I started medical school, I read it. I, Geneva Madden, acknowledge receipt of $280,000 from Vincent and Diane Madden for medical school tuition, to be repaid in full upon demand or upon termination of parental relationship, whichever comes first. My signature at the bottom, notarized. I stared at it. I didn't remember signing this. Then I did. September 2020. My father had given me a stack of paperwork, financial documents for school, tax forms. Just standard stuff, he'd said. Sign here, here, here. I'd signed without reading, because he was my father, because I trusted him. Ethan. He looked over my shoulder. Read it. Jesus Christ. I kept reading. Document 2. Demand for repayment. Dear Miss Madden, this letter constitutes formal demand for repayment of the promissory note executed September 15, 2020, in the amount of $280,000 principal plus interest. Interest calculation, 10% per annum, compounded annually, from September 2020 to June 2024 equals $28,000. Total amount due, $308,000. Payment is due in full by September 30th, 2024. Failure to remit payment will result in civil action and additional legal remedies. Sincerely, Douglas Pritchard, Esquire, on behalf of Dr. Vincent and Mrs. Diane Madden, September 30th. 90 days from now. I had $68 in my wallet. My residency salary wouldn't be enough. Not even close. $68,000 a year. $4,200 a month after taxes. To pay $308,000 in 90 days, I'd need $102,666 per month. I'd need to make 66 times what I actually made. Impossible. But there was a third document. I picked it up. Draft letter. Addressed to Massachusetts Board of Registration in Medicine and U.S. Department of Education, Office of Inspector General. Subject: Complaint regarding financial aid fraud. I read it. To whom it may concern. We have reason to believe Dr. Geneva Madden fraudulently obtained federal financial aid between 2020 and 2024 by misrepresenting her financial situation on FAFSA applications. Specifically, Miss Madden filed as an independent student and claimed no parental financial support, which qualified her for federal loans at reduced interest rates. In reality, her parents provided $280,000 in direct tuition payments during this period, which was not disclosed. This constitutes federal financial aid fraud under 20 U.S.C. Paragraph 1097. We request a full investigation. Sincerely, Vincent and Diane Madden. I stopped breathing. FAFSA. Free application for federal student aid. I had filed as an independent student every year, 2020 through 2024. I'd checked the box, no parental financial support, and I'd received $42,000 in federal loans, lower interest rates because I was independent, but my parents had paid my tuition, $280,000, separately, not reported on my FAFSA. Why? Because my father told me to. I remembered now. September 2020, right before school started. My father had sent me an email. Subject: FAFSA instructions. Geneva, make sure you file as an independent student. Check no parental support on the application. I'll handle tuition separately through my personal account. This is standard for high net worth families. Tax optimization. Trust me, I'd done exactly what he said, because he was a doctor, a hospital chief. He knew how these things worked. Except now he was going to use it to destroy me. If they filed this complaint, the medical board would investigate. Federal financial aid fraud carried penalties up to $20,000 in fines, 5 years in prison, and while they investigated, which could take 12 to 18 months, my medical license would be suspended. No license meant no residency. No residency meant no career. 8 years of medical school. Gone. Ethan was reading over my shoulder. This is extortion. It's a trap, I said. They set this up 4 years ago, made me sign a contract I didn't read, told me to lie on federal forms, and now they're using it against me. My voice was shaking. They made me the criminal, and they have all the proof. I did the math again, out loud, because if I didn't say it, I'd convince myself it wasn't real. Resident salary, $68,000 a year, $5,666 a month gross, $4,200 net after taxes. Expenses, rent share, food, student loans, medical care, transportation, $2,650 a month. That leaves $1,550. To pay $308,000 in 90 days, I couldn't even say it. Ethan said it for me. $100,000 a month. Pause. You can't pay it. I know. Can you get a loan? No bank will give me $300,000 on a resident's salary. What about a lawyer? I can't afford a retainer. We sat there. The envelope between us. 3 documents. 3 weapons. A contract I'd signed without reading. A debt I couldn't pay. A fraud allegation that could end my career. Perfect. Airtight. Designed to destroy me. Unless I found something they'd missed. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat at Ethan's kitchen table with my laptop, and I started digging. July 2nd, I called Greater Boston Legal Services, free legal aid for low-income residents. I qualified. Residents making under $45,000 a year were eligible. I made $68,000, but I hadn't been paid yet. They took my case. Phone consultation. 11 a.m. Attorney Sarah Chen. Young, maybe 30. She sounded tired. I explained everything. The promissory note, the repayment demand, the fraud threat. She was quiet for a long time. Then, here's the hard truth. They have a signed contract. You have your word. In court, the contract wins, unless you have documentation showing they coerced or defrauded you. I have emails, I said, from 2020. My father told me exactly how to file the FAFSA. He said to check no parental support. He said it was standard. Do you still have those emails? I checked my Gmail. Searched. FAFSA. Nothing. I'd deleted them. 2022, clearing space in my inbox. They're gone, I said. Then you don't have proof. Silence. What about the promissory note? I was 18 when I signed it. I didn't have a lawyer, I didn't understand what I was signing. In Massachusetts, contracts signed at 18 are enforceable. And I didn't read it isn't a legal defense. I wanted to scream. So I just lose? Not necessarily, but you need evidence. Something that shows the contract was unconscionable, or that they coerced you, or that they're not acting in good faith. Good faith, I almost laughed. Thank you, I said. I hung up. Then I remembered. The emails might be gone from Gmail, but I had an old laptop. MacBook Pro, 2019 model. I'd left it at my parents' house when I moved out. It was too heavy to carry. I'd grabbed my newer one instead, but the old laptop had everything. 4 years of emails, documents, files, including maybe the FAFSA instructions from my father. If I could prove he told me to lie, that he orchestrated the whole thing, then the fraud allegation would backfire. It wouldn't just be my word against his, it would be his own emails, receipts. The problem? The laptop was in my old bedroom, in a house I'd been told never to return to. I couldn't go back, but I needed that laptop. I sat there for an hour, thinking. Then I called my Aunt Patricia. While I waited for my aunt to call back, I researched. Massachusetts Board of Registration in Medicine. I found their website, investigation procedures. They handled about 200 cases a year. Fraud allegations, malpractice, ethics violations. Average investigation time, 14 months. 60% of cases resulted in temporary license suspension during investigation. I read that twice. Temporary suspension. If my parents filed the complaint, I'd be investigated. During the investigation, which could take over a year, my license would be suspended. I couldn't practice medicine without an active license, which meant Children's Hospital would suspend me from residency, which meant I'd lose my position, which meant 8 years of medical school would be worthless. And by the time the investigation concluded, whether I was found guilty or innocent, my residency spot would be gone. Someone else would have taken it. My career would be over. I felt sick. My parents had built the perfect trap. Pay $308,000 I didn't have, or lose everything. But then I saw something. I pulled up the promissory note again. $280,000. Paid by my parents over 4 years. $70,000 per year. I Googled IRS annual gift exclusion. 2020, $15,000 per person. 2021 through 2023, $16,000 per person. Anything over that amount had to be reported. Gift tax applied. My parents had given me $70,000 a year. That was $54,000 to $55,000 over the annual limit. Every year. For 4 years. If they didn't report those gifts to the IRS, they'd evaded gift tax. Approximately $80,000. I sat back. They'd told me to lie on federal forms so they could avoid taxes. And now they were threatening to report me for the lie they made me tell. That's when I realized. They weren't just threatening me. They were hiding something themselves. Ethan came home at 2 a.m. Night shift. 12 hours in the ER. He found me still awake, still at the kitchen table. Laptop open. Pages of notes. What are you looking for? A way out. He sat down. What if there isn't one? I didn't answer. Maybe you just pay them, he said. We take out loans, pay over time, move on. That's what they want. They want me to spend the next 20 years in debt to them, under their control. He was quiet. Paying them means they win. Geneva. No. I looked at him. I'm not doing it. Not because of the money, because paying them means admitting they were right, that I owe them, that I'm theirs. Ethan reached across the table, took my hand. Okay, then we fight. I need proof. Proof of what? That they're not the victims here. I closed my laptop. And I think I know where to find it. I couldn't stop thinking about the foundation. My mother ran it. Diane Madden, foundation director since 2015. $180 million in endowment funds. That money was supposed to be used for hospital programs, scholarships, medical research, community health initiatives, not personal expenses. But I remembered something. 2022. I was home for Thanksgiving. My mother was on the phone in her office. I walked past, heard her say, "The foundation is very generous with our senior staff. We've helped several families through difficult times. Low interest loans, very discreet." I hadn't thought about it then, but now, loans from the foundation to staff members. Discreet. I pulled up my laptop again. Searched. Nonprofit Foundation Regulations IRS. Found it. IRS rules. Nonprofits can't make loans to officers or board members without strict oversight. All loans must be reported on Form 990. The annual tax filing, Form 990, is public record. I searched. Madden Ellsworth Foundation, Form 990. Found a database. ProPublica Nonprofit Explorer. Downloaded the last 8 years of filings. Opened the first one, 2022. Scrolled to the section. Part 7, line 26. Loans to or from officers, directors, trustees, key employees. Amount reported, 0. I checked 2021. 0. 2020. 0. Every year back to 2015. 0 loans reported. But my mother had mentioned loans, discrete loans, low interest, to senior staff. My parents were senior staff. I sat there staring at the screen. If they'd taken loans and not reported them, that was embezzlement. That was tax fraud. That was federal. I needed proof, but I didn't have access to the foundation's internal records unless my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered. Geneva? This is Patricia Delgado. I used to work for the foundation. I think we should talk. July 5th. I called the HR department at Madden Ellsworth Medical Center, pretended I needed old tax documents for residency verification. I need copies of my W-2s from 2018 through 2023 for credential verification. They didn't question it. 3 days later, the forms arrived by email. I opened them. W-2, 2023. I'd worked as a summer research assistant. Paid through the foundation, $1,500 for a 6-week project. Box 1, wages, $1,500. Box 14, other compensation, $15,000. I stared at it. $15,000. I'd never received $15,000. I checked my bank records from 2023. One deposit, $1,500. Not $15,000. Where did the other money go? I checked the other W-2s. 2022, $15,000 in foundation reimbursement. 2021, $15,000. 2020, $15,000. 2019, $15,000. 2018, $15,000. $90,000 total. Reported as paid to me. That I'd never received. Someone was getting paid in my name. And I had a feeling I knew who. July 12th, 3 p.m., Starbucks in Cambridge. I'd never met Patricia Delgado before. She walked in carrying a messenger bag. 40-something, nervous, sat down across from me. "I worked for the foundation from 2015 to 2022, she said. "I was the accountant, CPA. I managed all the books. Why did you leave?" "I was forced out." She pulled out her phone, showed me an email. Resignation letter, dated June 20th, 2022. "I regret to inform you that I am resigning effective immediately due to irreconcilable differences with management." Standard corporate language. What really happened? Patricia looked around, lowered her voice. "I found discrepancies, loans to your parents, over $1 million, never repaid. I told your mother I had to report it to the board. She told me I was mistaken, that the loans were reimbursements, legal." "Were they?" "No, I have copies." She slid a flash drive across the table. "Everything's on here." On loan documents, wire transfers, board meeting minutes where your parents approve their own loans without disclosure. I couldn't use it without losing my license, but you can. I picked up the flash drive. Why are you helping me? Because they destroyed my career. I signed an NDA. They threatened to sue me if I ever talked, but I kept copies anyway. She stood up. Use it, end them. Then she left. I sat there holding the flash drive. My hands were shaking. I waited until I got home. Plugged the drive into my laptop. 312 files. I started reading. File 1, Loan Agreement. Vincent Madden, $450,000. Dated March 15, 2017. Purpose: medical research equipment acquisition. Terms: repayment within 24 months. 0% interest. I checked the date. 2017. 2 years would be 2019. I searched for repayment records. Nothing. File 2, Wire Transfer Receipt. Madden Ellsworth Foundation to Vincent Madden Personal Account. $450,000. March 22, 2017. File 3, Property Deed. Cape Cod. Purchase date, April 5, 2017. Buyers: Vincent and Diane Madden. Purchase price, $600,000. Down payment, $450,000. The medical research equipment was a vacation home. I kept reading. File 8, Loan Agreement. Diane Madden, $280,000. January 10, 2018. Purpose: professional development and conference travel. I found the wire transfer. January 17, 2018. Then I found a series of brokerage statements. Diane Madden, personal investment account. January 23, 2018. Deposit: $280,000. Stock purchases: Tesla, Apple, Amazon. Not conference travel. Personal stock portfolio. I kept going. By the time I finished, I had the full picture. Total loans from Foundation to Vincent and Diane Madden, 2015 through 2023, $1,270,000. Amount repaid, 0. Breakdown: vacation home. Down payment, $450,000. Classic car collection, Vincent, $280,000. Stock investments, Diane, $340,000. Miscellaneous personal expenses, $200,000. They'd been stealing from a charity for 8 years, using donor money to buy vacation homes and sports cars. I needed to verify one more thing. I pulled up the Foundation's Form 990 filings again, checked every year from 2015 to 2022. Part 7, Line 26. Loans to or from officers, directors, trustees, key employees. Every year, $0 reported. They hadn't just taken the money. They'd hidden it from the IRS for 8 years. That was federal tax fraud. I sat back. I had proof of embezzlement, proof of tax fraud, proof they'd built their empire on stolen money, but I still had a choice to make. Go to prison. The hospital might collapse. Go to prison. The hospital might collapse. Patients will suffer. 1,200 employees could lose their jobs. I know. Your family name will be destroyed. I know. Is that what you want? I didn't answer right away, because I didn't know. I didn't want to be vindictive. I didn't want to hurt innocent people. But I also wouldn't let them destroy me for being pregnant. I want them to leave me alone, I said finally. I want to keep my baby, keep my career, live my life. What if there's a middle ground? I looked at him. What if I offer them a deal? Drop the lawsuit, forgive the debt, leave me alone forever. In exchange, I keep this quiet. They repay the money over time, retire quietly, no one has to know. Ethan was quiet. You think they'll take it? I don't know, but I have to try. I couldn't just destroy them, not without giving them a chance to walk away, but I needed insurance. July 18th. Before I contacted my parents, I filed reports. Anonymous. Report 1. IRS Whistleblower Office. Form 211. I am reporting potential tax fraud and embezzlement by officers of the Madden Ellsworth Foundation, a 501c3 organization. Evidence attached. I included Summary of loan amounts, dates, discrepancies in Form 990 filings, redacted to protect Patricia Delgado. Report 2, Massachusetts Attorney General, Public Charities Division. Same information. I didn't include my name, just the facts. The evidence, the case numbers. July 25th, I received email confirmation from Massachusetts Attorney General, Public Charities Division. Subject, case opened. Number 2024-M. A-7831. Your complaint has been received and assigned for review. If we require additional information, we will contact you via the email address provided. The investigation was live, no turning back now. If my parents retaliated after our meeting, the investigation would proceed automatically. I had insurance. Now I just had to tell them. August 3rd, 2 p.m., I rented a conference room at WeWork Boston. 1 hour. $75 I couldn't afford, but I needed neutral territory. I sent an email through Douglas Pritchard. Subject, settlement discussion. I'm willing to discuss resolution of the promissory note matter. Sunday, August 3rd, 2 p.m. WeWork Boston, 501 Boylston Street, Conference Room C. My parents arrived with Pritchard, confident. My father looked at me, at my stomach. 20 weeks now. Undeniable. You're showing. My mother didn't look at me at all. They sat down. Pritchard opened his briefcase. My father smiled. I hope you're here to be reasonable, Geneva. September 30th is coming fast. I opened my laptop. I know about the money. The smile disappeared. I know about the $1.27 million you took from the foundation, the loans you never repaid, the vacation home, the cars, the stocks. Silence. Pritchard. That's absurd. I turned my laptop around, showed them the loan agreement. March 15, 2017, $450,000. Vincent Madden's signature. I have bank statements, wire transfers, board minutes, and I have your Form 990 showing you reported 0 loans to officers. My mother's face went pale. My father leaned forward. Where did you get that? Doesn't matter. What matters is it's real. I pulled out more documents. 6 wire transfer receipts, the Cape Cod property deed, the brokerage statements, laid them on the table. You stole from a charity. You lied to the IRS for 8 years, and you used that stolen money to build the life you're so proud of. Pritchard started to speak. I held up my hand. Before you tell me this isn't admissible, let me show you one more thing. I pulled out my phone, played an audio file. Patricia Delgado's voice filled the room. Mrs. Madden told me directly. We'll call it a reimbursement. The board doesn't need to know. She said it was standard practice, but I knew it wasn't. I have the emails. 2 minutes, 14 seconds. Recorded July 12th. With Patricia's consent. Legal under Massachusetts one-party consent law. Pritchard's face changed. That recording may not be admissible in court. I don't need it for court, I said. I just need it for the FBI. I slid a folder across the table. Inside, copies of 15 loan documents, highlighted, annotated. These are yours. Signed by you. Never repaid. Federal embezzlement. Federal tax fraud. And when the hospital board finds out, when the donors find out, this hospital won't have your name on it anymore. My mother finally spoke. What do you want? Drop the lawsuit. Forgive the promissory note. Leave me alone. Forever. My father stared at me. And if we do? I keep this quiet. You retire quietly. Repay the foundation over time. No one has to know. My mother's voice was ice. You're blackmailing us. No, you tried to blackmail me with a fake fraud claim. I'm offering you a way out. Pritchard leaned over, whispered to my parents. My father looked at me. If we agree, you destroy that evidence? No, I keep it. Insurance. You leave me alone. I leave you alone. Silence. I don't want your money. I don't want your approval. I just want you out of my life. My mother and father exchanged a look. Then my father laughed. Not a happy laugh. A cold one. You're not thinking clearly, Geneva. If you release this, the hospital closes. 1,200 people lose their jobs. Patients suffer. Your grandfather's legacy dies. He leaned forward. You want that on your conscience? You put it there when you stole from them. My mother spoke. Her voice was sharp, controlled. We built that hospital. We deserve compensation for decades of service. What we did was standard executive compensation. You're just too naive to understand. You embezzled from a charity. There's no justifying that. Pritchard cut in. Miss Madden, if you proceed with this, we will counter-sue for defamation, extortion, tortious interference. I stood up. See you in court. I walked to the door. My father's voice followed me. You'll regret this. You're destroying your own family. I stopped, turned around. You're not my family anymore. I left. 2:31 p.m. The meeting had lasted 31 minutes. August 5th. A process server knocked on Ethan's door. Lawsuit filing. Madden versus Madden Suffolk County Superior Court case. Number 2024 CV12638. I read it. Plaintiff Vincent Madden and Diane Madden seek $308,000 in damages for breach of promissory note, plus $50,000 in emotional distress damages, plus attorney's fees and costs. Hearing scheduled, October 15th. They'd sued me anyway. August 6th, morning. I sent everything. Flash drive, documents, audio recording. To FBI Boston Field Office, Public Corruption Unit. IRS Criminal Investigation Division, Massachusetts Attorney General, Hospital Board Chair, anonymous email. I pressed send. Then I waited. August 6th, afternoon. My phone rang. Unknown number. Miss Madden, this is Special Agent Maria Torres, FBI. We need to talk. The investigation wasn't theoretical anymore. It was real, and it was moving fast. August 15th, 6 a.m. I woke up to my phone buzzing. News alert, FBI raids Madden Ellsworth Medical Center in fraud investigation. I turned on the TV. Live footage. FBI agents carrying boxes out of the hospital. Staff standing outside, confused. A reporter on screen. The FBI has not named suspects, but sources say the investigation focuses on the hospital's foundation and its financial management over the past decade. My phone exploded. Texts from med school friends, former colleagues, people I hadn't spoken to in months. What's happening? Is this about your parents? Did you know? I didn't answer. By noon, my parents' photos were on every news site in Boston. By evening, they'd hired criminal defense attorneys. By midnight, I felt nothing. Not happy, not sad, just tired. August 20th. Emergency Hospital Board meeting. I didn't attend, but I read the press release. Statement from Madden Ellsworth Medical Center. Board of Directors. Dr. Vincent Madden and Mrs. Diane Madden have been placed on administrative leave pending investigation. The board is committed to full transparency and cooperation with federal authorities. We take these allegations seriously and will act decisively to protect the integrity of this institution. Board vote 8-2, 2 dissenting votes, longtime Madden allies. But the majority had turned. Ethan came home from his shift. How do you feel? I thought about it. Like I can finally breathe. 3 days later, my phone rang. It was my public defender, from Greater Boston Legal Services. They dropped the lawsuit. September 3rd, court hearing. I showed up, my parents didn't. Their attorney filed a motion to dismiss with prejudice. Plaintiffs voluntarily withdraw all claims and waive all rights to future claims related to the promissory note dated September 15th, 2020. The judge read it, looked at me. Miss Madden, do you have any objection? No, Your Honor. She signed the order. Case dismissed with prejudice. The promissory note is void and unenforceable. I walked out of the courthouse. $308,000 in debt. gone. The threat to my medical license, gone. I was free. 1 week later, the federal indictments came. September 10th, federal grand jury, United States versus Vincent Madden and Diane Madden, U.S. District Court, District of Massachusetts. Indictment: 8 counts wire fraud, 3 counts tax evasion, 2 counts embezzlement from a nonprofit organization. Maximum sentence: 20 years per count of wire fraud. Realistically, for first-time white-collar offenders, 3 to 5 years. The media went wild. Boston Hospital. Dynasty falls. Doctor and wife indicted for embezzlement. Madden family accused of stealing $1.27 million from charity. My name appeared in some articles. Sources say the investigation began after a tip from the couple's estranged daughter, Dr. Geneva Madden, a pediatric resident. I got hate mail. People who worked at the hospital, you destroyed a legacy. 1,200 jobs are at risk because of you. How do you sleep at night? I also got messages of support. Strangers. Thank you for standing up. You did the right thing. Don't let them make you feel guilty. I didn't respond to any of them. The hospital board met again. And this time they made a different decision. October 1st. Board vote, 9-1. Motion to rename Madden Ellsworth Medical Center. New name, Ellsworth Medical Center. Keeping my mother's maiden name. The Ellsworth family hadn't been implicated, but erasing my father's name entirely. The hospital he'd run for 12 years. The legacy his father had built in 1952. Gone. Press release. We honor the contributions of the Ellsworth family, while acknowledging that the Madden name no longer represents the integrity and values this institution requires. New signage installed, October 15th. Cost, $85,000. I read the announcement sitting in Ethan's apartment. I felt a strange mix of vindication and grief. My father's life's work, erased, but he'd chosen this. Not me. 2 weeks later, they took a plea deal. October 15th. Sentencing hearing. I watched via Zoom. I didn't go in person. My parents stood before the judge, both pleading guilty to 3 counts of wire fraud. Reduced charges, part of the deal. Sentence: $1.5 million restitution to the foundation, paid over 5 years. 3 years probation. 500 hours community service. Permanent ban from nonprofit leadership. No jail time. The judge cited their age, both over 60, no prior criminal record, health issues. The only reason you're not going to prison is your age and the restitution you've agreed to pay. But make no mistake, you betrayed the trust of your community. You stole from people who believed in you. That is unconscionable. My father looked old. My mother cried. I felt empty. Not victorious, just done. I never spoke to them again. Not at sentencing, not after, not ever. January 18th, 2025. 3:42 a.m. Contractions started. Ethan drove me to the hospital. Labor, 11 hours. She was born at 2:31 p.m., 7 pounds, 3 ounces. Healthy, perfect. I held her and cried. The first real cry since June. We named her Claire Elizabeth Cole, taking Ethan's last name. Not Madden. No grandparents came to visit, just Ethan. Liam, now 7 years old. Ethan's parents, blue-collar, warm, loving. They brought balloons and stuffed animals and called her our granddaughter without hesitation. I looked at Claire, at her tiny hands, her perfect face, and I thought, you're going to grow up knowing you're loved, not for what you achieve, just for who you are. That was the only legacy that mattered. June 2027. I was 31, finishing my last year of residency, chief resident in pediatrics at Children's Hospital Boston. I'd been accepted to a pediatric cardiology fellowship, same field as my father. The irony wasn't lost on me. I'd married Ethan. Small ceremony, October 2026. Just us, Liam, Claire, and a few close friends. Claire was 2.5. Funny, stubborn, healthy. We lived in a 2-bedroom apartment in Somerville. Rent $2,400 a month. Not Beacon Hill, but it was ours. One afternoon, a letter arrived. Return address. Diane Madden. My mother. I stood in the hallway holding it. Ethan came up behind me. You gonna open it? I stared at the envelope. 3 years of silence, and now this. I held it for a full minute. Then I walked to the trash can and threw it away, unopened. I don't need to know what she has to say, I told Ethan. I already know who I am. He nodded. We went inside. People ask me if I regret it, reporting them, destroying the family name. I don't, because they weren't trying to protect a legacy. They were trying to protect a lie. And I wasn't going to be part of that lie anymore. Some people will say I was vindictive, that I should have forgiven them, that family is family no matter what. But forgiveness doesn't mean letting someone hurt you over and over. It means choosing yourself. And that's what I did. I chose me. I chose my daughter. I chose a life where love isn't conditional, where family isn't a contract, where I don't have to earn the right to exist. If you're reading this, if you're in a family that treats love like currency, that makes you perform and comply and shrink yourself to fit their image, I want you to know, you can leave. It will hurt. It will be hard. You might lose people you thought you'd have forever, but on the other side is a life that's actually yours. A life where you wake up and don't have to perform, where you can make choices without permission, where you're enough, just as you are. That's worth everything. You don't owe anyone your suffering, not even your parents, especially not your parents. Some people think I destroyed my family. I didn't. I just stopped letting them destroy me. And that made all the difference.